Hey guys, and welcome to my channel BitGlenn. My name's Glenn and I like to share with you what I learn in the world of cryptocurrency as I go through it. So a few videos ago I talked about before you make any investment, whether that was Bitcoin, altcoins, buying a house, buying stocks and shares, you should always think of your exit strategy at the beginning. And someone rightly pointed out and said, well Glenn, what's your exit strategy with Bitcoin? And I didn't want to go too deep into it at the time because I needed to work out some maths. I've now done that, so I can share my findings with you guys right now. So let's get right into the video. So hey guys, thanks for tuning in, and thank you to everyone that's been smashing that like button for me, and also all the new subscribers that have been clicking subscribe. The channel's growing a lot faster than it ever has done in the past, so I really do appreciate all of that. But don't stop there, keep smashing that like button. Hopefully I can get to 100 likes on a video one day. I'd really be happy with that achievement. Normally these videos have sort of 200 or 300 viewers within the first few days, so if only a third of you go out there and click that like button for me, we should hit 100 likes on this video. Also, you can find me on Telegram group chat, which is Team BitGlenn. There's me and a group of guys all talking cryptocurrencies. There's no shilling, no scams. It's just us having a bit of banter, and sometimes I slip in a little bit about my personal life in that group chat as well. So find that with the name Team BitGlenn. And if you want to tag me in any articles or anything funny on Twitter, my name is BitGlenn. Find me on there, add me, follow me. So let's get right into the main topic of the video, and that is our exit strategy. Someone in one of my videos the other week, we were talking about making sure that before you commit to an investment, whether that's Bitcoin, buying a property, or investing in stocks and shares, or setting up a business, you have to have an exit strategy. What are you going to be doing to get out of this? Any money that you might owe or potential profits? You have to have that in your mind at the beginning. Otherwise, you're just sort of plodding along each day as it comes, never knowing what's actually what you're hoping to achieve. So it's really important to have an exit strategy. And someone said to me in one of the live chats, Glenn, what's your exit strategy for Bitcoin? And I didn't allude to it too much. I didn't go too much into it, and I didn't do that to sort of hide from you guys what it is I'm planning on doing or anything like that, or trying to mislead anyone. It's because I hadn't actually decided myself, and I've bought into Bitcoin, and I knew one day I'd have to sit down and work out a exit strategy with Bitcoin. So today I've actually sat down and done that. It's taken me a couple of hours just sitting there doing some maths and thinking about the different ways and what implications they could involve. So let's get right into that. Let's bring up my workings out. So this is actually just a spreadsheet that I've done. Video I'd done a little while back of the top 10 coins that I'll be holding. You can see that I'm not doing too well at the moment, apart from CRO. CRO is going strong. If you want to be a part of CRO or MCO token, there is a link in the description down below for their MCO Visa debit card. You've only got a couple of weeks left now of the 10% rewards, unless they extend it for the COVID-19 promotion they were doing. So I highly recommend, especially now that the coin has dropped in price. An MCO token at the moment is $4.96 or about £3.80 in British pounds. So it's quite cheap at the moment. So I would recommend jumping in on that. So let's go over to the exit strategies. This is what I've worked out. Now you can see here I've actually worked out 3 different strategies. So I'm going to talk you through these step by step. Hopefully my calculations are correct. Please point me out if they're not. But let's just say that you buy one whole Bitcoin today at the price of 9,500. That is the price of Bitcoin as of today, roughly, depending on how long this video takes to record. And let's say you set yourself a goal. Now this is going to be different for each and every single one of you watching this video. Some of you are going to say, I think Bitcoin's going to 100,000. I think Bitcoin's going to 300,000. I think Bitcoin's going to 1 million. I think it's going to 20,000. You will all have a different figure in your head. That is going to depend on you. So I can't tell you, and I don't think you should listen to any YouTuber out there who is going to sway your decision on when you think is a good time to buy or sell Bitcoin, because one, they don't know, so they're just completely guessing, and second, it's a lose-lose situation. So if Bitcoin, let's say a YouTuber or someone that influences you in some way says, I think Bitcoin is going to $50,000. If it hits $50,000 and you sell that exactly on that day, then sweet, well done. Then you could message that YouTube and say, oh, well done, I took your advice and it's never, that was its all-time high, so thank you very much. But what's more than likely to happen is that they're going to say, oh, I think Bitcoin's going to 50,000 this year or next year, whatever it may be. You're going to take note of that and then be like, oh yeah, that's when I'll sell. Now, let's just say that Bitcoin gets to 35,000. And then it has a big drop off. You're going to be like, oh, 35,000 was its all-time high. I should have sold then. Now it's only worth 7. So I've got to hold on to it now for 4 years or whatever. So we don't want that to happen. And it could go the other way. What if you sell your Bitcoin at 50,000, but it continues to go up to 250,000? You're going to be like, oh, why did I sell it at 50,000? So it's a lose-lose situation. If Bitcoin surpasses it, you're going to feel like you missed out. And if it doesn't hit that target, you feel like you've taken that advice on board and you've missed out. So have a figure in your head of what you think Bitcoin can achieve and what you'd be happy selling your Bitcoin for. Bearing in mind there's only 17 million in the world that are in circulation roughly. How much are you willing to sell that Bitcoin for? Now, you all have a different amount as well that you've invested. Some of you may have invested £500, some of you may have invested £50, some of you may have invested £20,000. Some of you, I'm sure, have put in 30, 40,000. The person who put in £500, if he walked away with 750 at the end of this whole process, he might be like, oh, I'm happy with that. But the person who put in 40,000, they have obviously an expectation of certain returns because they could have put that in stocks and shares, they could have put it in an ISA account. So they have a figure in their head like, okay, well, I want it to be at least 10%, otherwise it wasn't worth it. So they're going to want their Bitcoin to rise at least to make their investment go up 10%. Everyone has a different figure, and I can't predict that. I'm sure if you guys comment in the comment section down below, one, what you think the price of Bitcoin could be or what you think it will be one day, and also how much profit are you willing to accept? What's your figure in your head? Like, for me personally, and don't take this on board, I have a goal outside of cryptocurrency. I want to be able to use some money that I make from cryptocurrency to go and do something completely different, nothing to do with cryptocurrency. And I have a figure in my head. So my figure is closer to sort of 250. That doesn't mean what I think Bitcoin's going to go to, but that's the sort of money that in the next few years, probably 3 to 5 years, that I want to be able to have outright as cash so I can go off and do what I want to do with it. So I'm sure you guys all have different figures. You all have different figures of what you're hoping to achieve one day. So now that we've determined what you think the price of Bitcoin is going to be and what you want to take away from that, let's do some examples. And these are hypothetical. I've just done this to make it look easy maths on screen and for everyone to follow along. So price of Bitcoin today is 9,500. Let's just say that Bitcoin hits $50,000 at some point. We sell that Bitcoin, 100% of it, and we sell it for the 50,000. We hit the all-time high. That would give you a total profit once you deduct what you actually spent on the coin of 40,500 pounds, dollars, whatever. But again, these are hypothetical numbers, so whatever currency you're in. The amount of Bitcoin that you would have left at that point is 0. So if Bitcoin then continued, so if it went 60, 70, 80, 90, 120, 250, whatever, you wouldn't see any of those gains because you took your shot then. And if you was to sell your Bitcoin and then, unless it dropped 80% and then you bought back in and then it went straight back past the all-time highs, more unlikely. If Bitcoin has a 80% drop, it normally then retraces for a little while, a couple of years at least. If you're comfortable with selling all your Bitcoin at that profit level, you've gained 40,500, happy days. I'm sure that would be to many of you, like, yeah, that is perfect. I'd love to walk away with cryptocurrency with £40,000 profit. Something you do need to bear in mind is that at that point, because you've bought something and it has risen in price, depending on your country, all countries have different tax laws, so I can't advise you on what your tax rules are because I don't know what they are. I know in the UK, if things appreciate, if you buy an asset and it appreciates in value, you have to pay capital gains tax. Now, capital gains tax can be between sort of 30 all the way through to 60%, depending on how much you earn a year. And then obviously you've got to add this on top. So if this was spread out over 1 year, 2 years, you could pay an accountant to sort of jiggle the figures about. It's a taxable event, and you could probably get away with it in the world of cryptocurrency. You could probably transfer that in some way, shape or form. But if a taxman ever comes knocking, he at some point is going to say, right, you made £40,000 profit through cryptocurrency 4 years ago, because I think they can hunt you down for like 6 years worth. He can say, right, well, you know, we're going to charge you the 60% of that because you earned 35, 40 grand a year, or 60 grand a year, whatever you're on if you work in London or whatever. Plus you earned 40 grand capital gains. That puts you in £100,000 bracket. So we're going to charge you the 60%. So now you owe us £32,000 or whatever it is. I don't know, I can't work that out quickly off the top of my head. Now you may be at that point, you might have spent this £40,000 profit and you think, geez, how am I going to pay that back? And I don't know, maybe you go bankrupt or something. So, but it is a taxable event, so just bear that in mind. Just have that in the back of your mind. The other technique that we can have moving on is a staggered selling technique. So you have one whole Bitcoin, you bought it at 9,500, yet again at today's prices. And say you set a limit, again we're basing this on if Bitcoin was to reach $50,000. It's the same with all three of these examples, so it's nice and easy and fair. And at every 10,000 level, I've put here that we would sell 0.25. Now for you, that you can change these figures to however you want. You might want to sell 0.1 of a Bitcoin every 5,000, or however you want to do it. And I'm sure there's better ways of doing it, but this is just an example of a staggered selling off technique leading to obviously an all-time high. So you've got one whole Bitcoin, you sell 0.25 of it at 20,000. You would end up with £5,000 cash. You sell another quarter of a Bitcoin at £30,000 level, and you would actually cash out 7,500. You do that again at 40,000, you end up cashing out 10,000, and you do it again at £50,000. That's the all-time high, and you sell your last bit of Bitcoin then. Well, you would actually get 12,500. Now, if you add all of these four events up, you actually would walk away with 35 grand. Then we're going to minus off the 9,500 that you initially put into it to get involved in it in the first place. So now we've got a profit of 25,500. Now this is about 15 grand away from selling it completely outright. There's a bit more safety with this. Like I said, you might, with this technique, you may miss the all-time high. You may sell before the all-time high. Whereas this one, you can have a bit more control of, okay, I'll sell a position today and I've still got the rest of it for later. I'll sell a bit more. I sell a bit more. It's gone up quite a lot lately. It's dropped off a bit. I sell a bit more. So you're in control of it more. And if Bitcoin did all of a sudden, say it got to 40,000 and then did an 80% drop, whereas this technique, because you were waiting for 50,000, you've missed that boat. Now you've got to wait a couple of years now. So this is a higher risk strategy. Whereas this one, at least you've made 5, 7.5, 10. So you've made, what's that, 22 or something along the way. So you're already in profit. And you still own 0.25 of a Bitcoin. It's had its 80% drop, and you can do what you want with that as you want. But at least you've made a bit of profit. So this is, the staggered one is a bit more secure. It doesn't give you the maximum amount of profit, but it does give you that flexibility to maybe not get things 100% right, which any trader will tell you, especially in cryptocurrency. Not everyone gets it right 100% of the time. So at least this is diluting that risk a bit. I hope that makes sense. Then my last strategy is actually lending, using a lending platform for your Bitcoin. So yet again, if we bought one whole Bitcoin at 9,500 today, and Bitcoin hits $50,000, yet again, whenever it is, you can borrow up to 50% of that using lending platforms like Cellulus, Nexo, Crypto.com, Salt, BlockFi, or something like that. They all offer like this 50% LTV loan to value ratio. So what that means for you is Bitcoin's hit 50,000. You then go and borrow $25,000 against your Bitcoin. Now, if you deduct the 9,500 that we've spent on it, you now have 15,500. It's the lowest profit out of all three of these strategies. But something to bear in mind, obviously, as I stated with the first one, this second strategy has 4 taxable events in it. It has these 4, and depending on when they happen, so if you sold some Bitcoin in the UK, we have our tax return time at April. Say you sell 0.25 of a Bitcoin in March, but then your next lot you don't sell until June. Well, you're actually spreading your what you owe against 2 different tax years. So that would actually dilute how much capital gains you've probably got to pay. But again, it's 4 taxable events. With this one, you're not selling your crypto, so you haven't gained from capital gains. So in the UK, you would not pay capital gains on borrowing money against an asset. I don't know what it's like in America or other countries out there. So if Bitcoin hit 50,000, we then borrow 50% of that. We get 25 grand out. That's a non-taxable event. You don't owe the taxman anything for that event. So this profit here is actually pure profit. That's what you would end up with. It's a non-taxable event. But here's what's interesting. The amount of Bitcoin that you would own at that point is 100%. You would keep 100% of your Bitcoin. Now, I'm not sugarcoating it. You still owe $25,000 against that Bitcoin. But this works if Bitcoin continues to go up in price. So if it goes to 60, 70, 80, let's say it gets to $100,000, according to your app, it will say you've borrowed 25,000 against your Bitcoin, but Bitcoin's gone up in price. And now if you want to, you can borrow another 25,000 against it. So you owe 50,000 against it. So you could keep just reaping in the 50% rewards. Now, obviously, if Bitcoin then has a drop of 80% or whatever it may, 95% like it has done in the past, Bitcoin on that lending platform, they would message you and say, right, the amount of Bitcoin is worth at the moment is below what you owe us. So we're either going to sell the Bitcoin for you today at today's prices at 25,000 so that they break even, probably make a bit of profit out of it. Or you can top up some more Bitcoin or pay off your debt. So you've got a few options there, but obviously a bit unrealistic if you haven't got that sort of spare cash lying around. So this is a really good strategy, and if I'm being completely honest, this is probably the strategy that I'm going to go for. One, because it's not a taxable event, so it won't go into what I've earned that year, and secondly, I can keep realizing more gains. So if Bitcoin goes to 100,000 to 50, I am sitting back pretty, and I can just keep withdrawing money from this and really have the intention of never ever paying it back, just waiting for Bitcoin to have that 80 to 90% dip and then just letting the platforms liquidate me. It would be the same as me selling, I suppose. Obviously you'd always think, oh, I didn't get the all-time high, like I've only got 50% of what Bitcoin was worth. So if it went to 100k, the most you'd be able to borrow against it is 50k. So you'd always think, oh, I lost out on 50k there. But these all require you to be hitting that all-time high, which is very difficult to do. By the time that it hits 50k and then has a retracement of 10, 15, 20%, and then you think, oh, that was the all-time high, oh, I better sell some now. By the time you've already lost 10%, you've already lost 15, 25, whatever it has dropped in that short period of time. So it's very difficult to get the all-time high perfect. Anyway, I'm not saying it's impossible, but that's something to bear in mind. So I think that this lending way is the best strategy, but that's my opinion. You may think, no, Glenn, I want the 40,000 outright cash up front. Fair enough. You may think, Glenn, I'm going to hold on to Bitcoin until it's £1 million. Or some of you out there, the real hardcore Bitcoin maximalists, they're holding the day that comes where there isn't a money tree system that's valued against Bitcoin. It will be, if you want to buy a house, you need to pay for it in Bitcoin. If you want to buy food, you have to pay for it in Bitcoin. So some of them are holding out for that. So they're not even looking to profit off of this. And obviously, if that system occurs, they will be millionaires in that cycle, because things will be priced at, like, an apple will be 0.000000001 of a Bitcoin. And obviously, if they own one whole Bitcoin, that in theory, they're like a complete millionaire, or like a 10 millionaire sort of, you know, they own 10 million pounds worth of Bitcoin or whatever. So that's like a few different strategies there for exit strategies for Bitcoin. But you can apply this to any cryptocurrency, really. What do you guys think? I'd love to hear your thoughts. It's something that I've been playing about with for sort of a couple of hours today, just working out some figures. I don't know if I can share this spreadsheet, but I'll take a picture of it and I'll put it in the Telegram group chat, or I'll put it on my Twitter page, so follow me on either of those. I'd love to hear your thoughts and what people think of this, and maybe I'm missing something, and maybe someone's got a lot better exit strategy out there. But I feel that this is catering to 3 different types of people here. The people that really want to, you know, go all out and sell, buy low and sell at the peak. This one caters to more people that want to stay on the more careful side, if you like. And this one obviously is I think also a very careful strategy, because, you know, unless the lending platform runs off with all your Bitcoin and money, then you can just keep withdrawing money from it. And I think that's going to be my strategy going forward. And I think it's not just me thinking things like this, because what I've seen in the markets, since obviously all these price predictions are coming out now of Bitcoin going to 100,000, 200,000, whatever, we're seeing all the platforms where they do some sort of lending just really pumping and doing well. So Nexo, crypto.com, Cellulus, they're all doing pretty well in terms of price appreciation of their own token. So the Cellulus was just, I mean, look at that, it just skyrocketed. So I do think that a lot of people are thinking the same sort of lines as me, like, right, okay, I'm setting myself up, I'm going to buy some Cell token or Nexo, because then I get cheaper rates, cheaper APRs, cheaper fees, and then when Bitcoin does go on its big bull run in the next 6 months to 12 months, I'm just going to borrow against it. I've got nothing to back that up, but I just think that that's a strategy that big people are going to play. And we do this all the time. If you look at housing market, you buy that asset, so you've bought a house, and you can get an LTV of a house up to 75%, so, or even 90%, 100% mortgages that they do in the UK, actually, depending on what country you're in, you might have different rules. But, you know, you can get in the UK with buy-to-let sort of side of it, you can borrow 75 to 80% of the value of the asset. Now, if one of these started doing 75, 80%, then it's a done deal, you know, like, you just stick your Bitcoin on there, borrow money against it. Even if you borrowed the most amount of money, say, I don't know, if you thought Bitcoin was going to 50,000, you borrow most of the money when it was at 40,000, and you just keep, every time it goes up $100, you just keep withdrawing $100 from it. And that way you're guaranteed, like, oh yeah, I hit just below the all-time high, but I raised money all the way through it. You know, that would absolutely kill it. But at the moment, they're only doing 50% LTV. And actually Nexo, I know, because theirs is done with an algorithm, not just a set rate, it's about 52% at the moment. So I think Nexo's probably offering the best. But Cellulus are offering 1% APR at the moment if you hold their coin. And I'm sure there's going to be promotions from crypto.com, because they offer lending. Their lending's probably the more expensive side. It's about 12% APR. The Nexo, I think they're offering 5.9% APR. So it'd be good to have like a website that actually listed all these with the different interest rates, so you knew what you were getting the best deal with your crypto. But that's it really from me, guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter with the handle BitGlenn, or you can find me on Telegram, which is Team BitGlen, and no shilling, no scams, just guys talking in there. Please smash that like button if you've liked the level of detail that I've put into this and the maths. Everyone loves maths, surely. What a fun topic to be talking about late at night. And also click the subscribe button if you're new to this channel. Share this. But that's it from me, guys. That is it. I'll see you on the next video from BitGlen. Bye.